Welcome back to Bonico Tarot. And yeah, I figured it might be nice to have a little bit of sage to start this one off. Energies are pretty high, as we're all well aware. Sending out love, light, and truth, and the pursuit of it to all. So, here's another big report. We are dealing with a lunar eclipse. And lunar eclipses in general, can trigger fated events. But this one, it's not so much the eclipse that's of concern in this moment. It is the moon square to Mars. So we're dealing with some very intense energies. I would anticipate that that this June will be probably one of the most intense months that we've had in decades. So, as I advise to many of my friends, make sure you have your helmet on this weekend, because it's going to be a doozy. I mean, who knows what's going to happen, really. But it's definitely a time to not give in to impulses, especially when we're feeling triggered by something. So before I get too deep into the details on the eclipse, I'm going to get a little business stuff out of the way. I do offer private readings, and so I've just finished making a little flyer, which I've posted on Bonico Tarot on Facebook, so you can see it there for quick reference. But basically what I'm offering is I'm offering a one question 30-minute in-depth tarot reading. That will be for $35. And then if you want to go a little bit more into your situation, or if you have a few things you want to take a look at, then I would recommend that we do the multiple questions 60-minute reading, which a lot of the times they go more. Now, I can do those live, or I can also record them and send you a link online where you can look at them yourself and possibly opt for them for download. I'm still kind of working that out, but at any rate, I do have a space to send you a link at this time, and I'll give you more details about that once you message me. And then my third little itty bitty reading option is the I Need a Sign 3-card reading, and that is recorded only. So what I would do is email you a photo of the spread in terms of the cards that I laid out, and then a quick little voicemail or voice memo file for your use to refer to. So then also I would like to direct you to the Venus retrograde, Venus RX, for each sign, the reports that I did for each sign a little over a week ago. Those reports are going to be relevant for May, June, and July. And also a handy reference for your hindsight is 2020 kind of thing as we move into the late summer and early fall, because we've got a lot of aspects that are triggering significant changes, because we have moved into a new chapter and we're creating a paradigm that we have no point of reference for. So things are happening, we're not really seeing them coming because we're not familiar with the dynamics of this new paradigm. So Let me see, did I get all the business over with? And then also, yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so that when I do get videos up, you are notified right away. And so, yeah, let's get to the general astrological themes for this lunar eclipse. So, this lunar eclipse is in Sagittarius, and because it's square Mars, the dynamics are around love and hate. So, and, you know, all manner of extremes in this respect. So, it's a classic kind of dynamic where you really have to ask yourself, which wolf am I going to feed? There will be things that will poke you, that will trigger you. And so if you don't want to be caught up with a huge mess of details to have to work out when throughout the rest of the summer, when you really wanted to have your eye on other things, then I suggest you really rein yourself in. We all need to take a pause, take a breath, and know without a doubt that we see the way that we're heading clearly before we act. Most of the planets are in retrograde or in some stage of it, and Mercury retrograde is right around the corner, folks. So, you know, with all the action that we've seen so far, it's really best to be paying attention and put your helmet on. What this is also leading us into is we have a solar eclipse later in the month, and that will be, what is that solar eclipse going to be in? I believe it's is it Cancer? Yes, it's going to be Cancer. If I'm wrong, I will correct myself. And that's going to be based on our issues around freedoms and restriction. So I think that we're already seeing a lot of those themes that are playing out, and here at this time we're looking for sort of the culmination or the climax that does bring clarity and opens up a whole new path for many of us. One of the things that I've been finding that I've been advising my clients of so far is that when we feel like we're in this vice grip and the options are not clear, and we find that we're actually attached to a particular outcome of our situation, I recommend that you find a way to surrender without it having to mean failure or death. So, as with all of my readings, I like to play with perspective, and I invite you to join me as I provide you with the context of astrology to then create yet another story with finer details in time and space with the tarot. So, here's the deal. Scorpio. This eclipse falls in your second house of money and values. So, you are going to be looking at some key financial changes in your life. You're going to be, thinking more along the lines of paying yourself first. What a concept. As well as the values that you have and how they're changing around money and power. Okay? So these are big themes for Scorpio to be working out. So, and because we're dealing with also the opposite sign, there's a lot of layers to this one, Scorpio. Taurus is in the 8th house, which is completely opposite you on the zodiac wheel. And so the 8th house is the house of intimacy, death, other people's money, and taxes. So you may find yourself, dealing with some of those issues as well, as they are somewhat related to you. Also, the other layer that you need to be looking at is that Venus is the ruler of the second house. So Venus retrograde in Gemini right now could also have some related aspects that will linger through this eclipse. So you may want to check out that video. So, Scorpio, what do we have for you in the tarot for this eclipse? Uh-oh. That one just kind of popped out. What are the surrounding energies? Ooh, the Hierophant. So I'm hearing that this is more of a spiritual expression of the Hierophant. That this is a very spiritual time in your life, and the values that come along with whatever your belief systems are at this time. I'll get to this one in a minute. So your first card is the Two of Cups. And your second card is the Two of Wands. And your last card is the Three of Swords. So we're talking about love in the past, maybe feeling a little stuck in the past, and working out issues of grief from past relationships, and how that's affected your values, how it's affected your financial circumstances, how it's affected your values around money and partnership. So let's get some clarifying cards to get a little bit more insight. So this could be part of the spiritual stages that you're going through, where, you know, you're kind of clearing out bits of grief from the past. Yeah, this is about lovers and loving relationships and what love means to you. You know, the difference between the dynamics that we see in the Two of Cups versus the Lovers, you know, as you try to define your ideals in terms of the different kinds of love that you have in your life. So let's take a look at the Two of Wands and see what aspect of the past is being brought up for you. Yeah, sadness and disappointment. You know, a lot of disappointment in love, which, you know, I think Scorpios can pretty much attest to those dynamics, that love can often be the greatest challenge within a Scorpio's life as they try to make sense of it all. So let's see, yeah. You know, because it's like there have been times when you thought your wish had come true and you ended up here. Seems to be part of the learning process that is Scorpio for these last few years. So I'm going to pull those two cards for the Three of Swords and see what we get. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we got the Devil and the Seven of Cups. So, you know, it's like there's been a lot of confusion around love. There's been a lot of toxicity around love. And, you know, and this eclipse may be bringing some of those memories back up to be released and learned from. Let's see what the surrounding energies are. Oh, yeah. Maybe you gotta, you know, figure out the balance between a healthy boundary and being closed off. You know? But you're not feeling open. You know, this is not a time for something new for you. So let's see what the Lenormand has to say. What? I think that Scorpio's, you know, trying to get real around issues that keep coming up in partnership, in commitment. So, what is the self-reflection, Scorpio? Innocence. And seeing the world through the eyes of a child, as opposed to having your defenses up and burying yourself in your work. So, something is likely to surprise you for this eclipse, a reunion of sorts that nobody's telling you about. So I'm going to leave it right there for you, Scorpio. You got the devil, and you did get the tower, so put a helmet on. Be careful out there. Energies are crazy. Take care of yourself.